Hey everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. And amazingly, I can't believe I'm saying this, welcome to June already. Did you know that June is National Safety Month? Since 1996, so this is the 30th anniversary of National Safety Month, we celebrate safety in the month of June. And as we do so, it's kind of good to reflect back on a number of things and maybe reflect upon our role and safety in general. So I'm going to cover a few things that are recommended to talk about a little bit during National Safety Month. So the first thing is that safety must move forward. We must innovate. We get stuck in this rut sometimes of we do it this way, we've always done it this way. Why change it? It's working. And I think that one of the things in our profession is that we need to constantly be moving the needle forward, moving the dial. We need to innovate. We need to come up with creative ways to improve safety. When recently I had a What's Up Wednesday kind of centered on mental health, and I indicated that in 2023 that there were over 20,000 workplace fatalities in the United States, and more than 90% of those had to do with mental health, either suicide or drug overdose. So obviously we have a long ways to go. Some things that we can think a little bit about are obviously we focus primarily on safety at work, but we need to be thinking about safety on the road. We need to be thinking about safety at home. We need to be thinking about safety in other situations because the reality is if we can create and drive a mindset around safety that people live on a daily basis, then it's more likely to succeed in the workplace. So, one thing we can really focus on is road safety. I would say, bar none, the greatest hazard that we face every single day is that drive to and from our workplace. It is by far the most dangerous thing we do. And that includes people who have very dangerous jobs. The reality is there are so many uncontrolled events and variables when we're driving that we just cannot control safety other than safe driving skills. So something to think about. Another thing we need to think about is worker health. You know, there's a lot that goes into health, mental health and physical health. I want to talk a little bit about physical health. Obviously, nutrition, exercise, how people take care of themselves, stress. These are all very important factors that are often not looked at because we're focused on falls, struck by, caught between electrical hazards, and other types of workplace safety related hazards and risks. But we got to really focus on physical well-being. It's incredibly important, and it's something that we should promote in the workplace. I remember I had a client many years ago, Nucor Steel, and every week they would bring in a pallet of fruit for their employees, and their break rooms were full of fruit, bananas, apples, oranges, you name it, everything, as much fruit as they possibly wanted. And that promoted, a healthy workplace. I believe they also paid for their employees' health club memberships, which everything that they were doing was promoting wellness, which is really, really good because it sets a really good tone. Obviously, slips, trips, and falls, especially in construction, are the number one workplace hazard, something we have to continually focus on. And people often, when they think of slips, trips, and falls, they think about housekeeping when it comes to slips and trips. When it comes to falls, they think about situations where they're actively engaged with personal fall arrest systems. What we don't consider is that there are more fatalities from people falling off of a 6 foot step ladder than any other type of a fall. And we often take for granted the fact that ladder safety is so critically important, not just in the workplace, but at home. And I know that I had an incident on a step ladder many years ago that resulted in a torn bicep. I mean, it doesn't take much. Make sure that those feet on those ladders are stable. When possible, have somebody hold the ladder and and just really practice safe work practices around the use of a ladder because it's such a dangerous tool. Safety culture starts with small actions. We got to think about that, right? It starts with encouraging people to speak up, encouraging people to correct a hazard if they see it, do a quick pre-task check, stop work when something feels wrong, and look out for the person next to you. If we can drive those individual activities, promote them, and get people comfortable doing these things, you start to build culture. approaching culture and trying to figure out how to change safety culture can be a very overwhelming task. But if we focus on the parts and pieces of it, such as I just shared, it makes it a little bit easier. So just remember, June's Safety Month and National Safety Month, and it's a good reminder that safety doesn't happen by accident. It happens through our intentional actions, through process, through systems, through procedures, through policies. Finally, challenge yourself this month to have one real safety conversation. Maybe more than one, but start with one, not a checklist conversation, a real conversation around what could go wrong, what needs to change, who's counting on you to get home safe. See what happens. I think if you have that conversation with somebody, the more often you have that conversation, the easier it becomes. And the easier it becomes, the more that you're driving safety culture, because it's making it safe for others to speak up. It's making it safe for others to think. Believe it or not, many people feel like they're not there and being paid to think. They're there to do a job. But if we say, look, it's okay, we want you to think, we want you to question things, then we can really start to drive that culture. And I know a lot of safety leaders who have done a great job with this. And I know that no matter how mature an organization, it's always going to be a challenge. So let's take June, National Safety Month, to think about why we do what we do and how we can do it better and keep promoting safety so that the 1,000 plus workplace fatalities and the 19,000 plus workplace mental health related fatalities are reduced more and more every single year. We have a long ways to go, but over the last 20 years, we've made a lot of progress too. So hopefully that helps. We'll see you next Wednesday.